We were 18 and 19 years old, and it was such a huge culture shock just to come to America. And the very first thing we did was in New York, the Murray the K show, the Brooklyn Fox. But as soon as we'd done that 10 days, in the next year we came over on the Dick Clark tour. And in those days, I mean, the world is more homogenous these days than it was then. Different cultures were very different to each other, and coming over into this magic land for us, because all our musical heroes were here. You know, everybody from Elvis, you know, to Ray Charles and you know, Miles Davis and everybody, and all the early rock and rollers like Little Richard and everything. It was, you know, when we were growing up and we were 14 and 15 years old, or even earlier actually, from 11 years old upwards. And then for just a few years later to us find ourselves in America in this culture which seemed like another universe, and suddenly we were topping the charts. And if she should tell me, we brought our music over to this place which seemed so remote to us and so far above what we could ever aspire to, and suddenly we were over there. And we actually found out that Elvis had our songs on his jukebox, and it was Elvis that turned me on to rock and roll, certainly, well, all of us really, you know, when we were 11 years old. I remember hearing Hound Dog for the first time. It was just a huge culture shock, but in a fabulous way, but a pretty bewildering way as well.
But it is funny, you know, by the time we got over there, I think we were just 19, and when you're that old, you adapt very quickly. You know, I think that a year before that we were playing very local, small little gigs, you know, and then suddenly we're playing auditoriums.
But I sort of dreamed my way through that tour. I don't know,
Yeah.
you know, it was just on sort of autopilot, you know.
Yeah.
Just sort of living a little dream, you know. It's an enjoyable experience because we've got a fabulous band, and so I often say on stage each night that we're not doing this to try and make a buck at this stage in our careers. We're doing it because we genuinely get excited to be able to be at our age and playing in front of a really kicking band, and getting off on playing every night and being able to write new stuff and feel there's a path ahead, as well obviously as doing all the stuff that the old stuff that people want to hear as well. So we do feel very at home on the road. You know, the tedious parts of being on the road are as tedious as they always were. You know, travelling 6-7 hours a day, and then starting the sound check and everything. But what makes it worthwhile is that hour and a half or 2 hours at night when you can actually do your thing. You know, and it is a privilege to be our age and being able to muster that much energy and get that much energy back from an audience too.
Well, no one told me about her.
How does that make you feel, that living it's time?
No, I mean, it's seriously, it's great to have people from all ages in
absolutely.
the audience, and it's a bit of a phenomenon that young people are very interested in the 60s, and as far as we're concerned, we finished with this album called Odyssey and Oracle, which has become, I suppose, a bit iconic really, and people are just intrigued to hear songs from that album, and we play 4 or 5 songs from
About half the album, don't we?
Yeah, from Odyssey and Oracle.
But one of the reasons that it is a young crowd, I think, also, is because so many artists have named the album, contemporary artists that have just recently come out, keep naming the album as their favourite album or one of their favourite albums, and that means that I think sometimes they draw their curious fans in to hear what they're talking about. So it's really nice, along with playing to older people as well, which is great, you know, of course, to have a young component too. Oh God, yeah, I mean loads, absolutely loads.
I mean, my favourite song is Fragile by Sting, so I wish I'd written that. I think it's so beautiful. It just sums up life, really. It's very, very special.
God, do you know, I was thinking, sorry, go on, finish.
I was going to say also there's a very good live version by Stevie Wonder. I think it was Sting's 60th birthday or something like that. He put on a big concert, and Stevie Wonder sings that song. Wow, it's fantastic.
I mean, you've just thrown that question at us, and there are loads. I know that the other day I was saying to my wife, oh my God, I wish I'd written that song. And I was just trying to search my brain then to remember what song that was, and I cannot think what it is just at this moment. But do you know what just came into my head then? There's an old Sam Cooke song called A Change Is Gonna Come. I really wish I'd written that song, but there are many though, many.
Should I try to hide the way I feel inside?
I have to tell you a slightly amusing story, or maybe you won't be amused, about when that song was written, because it was on a UK tour, and we were on we were touring with the Isley Brothers, actually, I think. Was that the one?
Yeah, Dion Warwick and
Dion
the
Warwick
Searchers.
and the Searchers. And we had a pee stop, you know, and I went into the loo, and I got this idea for a song. And I stayed in the loo for about 15 minutes. And everyone was saying, where the hell have you been, when I got out, you know? And I said, well, sorry, I was just writing this song. And Colin said, what's it called? I said, The Way I Feel Inside. Which is really silly, you know.
I don't like you.
I hope this doesn't sound too flippant, but the music business has always been a mystery to me. In the 60s, I didn't understand it at all. And now we've been through these huge changes. It's almost week by week the business changes, and it's still a mystery to me. And so in some ways, for me, it hasn't changed at all. It's just always been a mystery. I don't know how bands break nowadays. In the old days, it was nice and simple. You just got a team of people to go out and buy records from chart shops around the country. It was nice and simple. You could bribe people, and you had a hit. Nowadays, I have no idea how you do it.
I'll tell you what, I mean, I don't know if this is still the case, but it seems that it seems to be such a 1 or 2 week chart now. And when we first came out, a record company would sign a band, and if they felt they had promise, they'd stick with them and stick with the record. The record would come out, because the record could take 3 months to break. Time the Season took 6 months to really climb the charts in the States. That just could not happen now.
I think I would say, remember that there's a lifetime's career in music. I wasn't aware that career path existed when I was 15. But and so for me it was a wonderful adventure, but it was just fun at that first time, from 64 to 67. I really didn't realise that there was a lifetime career path. So I think I would have made a few different choices if I'd have known that.
I don't know what to say, because I always desperately wanted to be a musician, and I always wanted it to be a career. So I think you're incredibly fortunate if you're 15 years old and you know what you want to do. Very, very few people do, and I definitely. I mean, I always remember John Lennon's comment saying, when I was a young teenager, the real world to me was music. And what people call the real world was sort of out there on the periphery, and that was exactly how I felt. The real world was in my head, really, and it was with music. But I think you're incredibly lucky if you've got that sort of purpose, because most kids, you know, are desperately trying to find a way ahead, or somewhere to go, or a purpose, or, you know, something they feel they're suited to. And I think it helps you with your teenage years so incredibly if you've got a focal point. And I always had that focal point, so I can't really, you know, I mean, obviously you're very immature when you're 15, and I think in a way I wish I could have taken things more equably, you know, more taking things as they come more, and not get so worked up about things. I think you learn that as you grow older, but beyond that I don't know what to say, really.
It's been such a wonderful surprise that what started out as 6 concerts in 1999, it was very definitely just going to be 6 concerts.
Yeah.
And here we are, 13 or 14 years later, still playing. To be playing the world at wonderful venues at our time and this time in our careers, it's been a huge surprise. And I think we should just go on enjoying it as long as we can.
Forget the way you said, darling, I love you. You gave me faith to go on. Now we're there, and we've only just begun. This will be our